out the millet cheated, my drunkards, this white-chopped rascal, would thou waste lie drowning the washing of 10 tides?
Oh, he'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at wish to glut him. Ah! Mercy on us! We split! We split! Farewell, my wife! Family, farewell, my brother! We split! We split! We split!
Let us all sink with the king!
Let's take leave of him!
Now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground. Long heath, brown furze, anything. Or ye realms above be done, but I fain would die of crying death.
If by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should the good ship so have swallowed and the frothing souls within her.
Be collected, no more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done.
Oh, woe the day!
No harm! I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who are ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full purcell, and thy no greater father.
What? No, did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee, father. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. So, lie there, my art. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The direful spectacle of the rack which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered, that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betid to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou saw'st sink. Sit down, for thou must now know farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped, and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour is now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear, obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly, sir, I can.
By what? By any other house or person? Of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance.
'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda. 12 years since, thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power.
Sir, are not you my father?
Thy mother was a piece of virtue, and she said thou wast my daughter. And thy father was Duke of Milan, and his only heir and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed wast we did?
Both, my girl, by foul play, as thou say'st, were we heaved thence, but blessedly hope hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you, father.
My brother, and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee mark me that a brother should be so perfidious. He, whom next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time through all the signories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Dost thou attend me?
Sir, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed them, or else new formed them, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thy false uncle. Dost thou attend?
Oh, good sir, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind with that which but by being so retired or prized all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature, and my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which had indeed no limit, a confidence sans bound. He, being thus lauded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the Duke, out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Good sir, your tale would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute villain. Me, poor man, my dukedom, my library was dukedom large enough. Of temporal royalties, he thinks me now incapable. Confers, so dry he was for sway with the King of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the dukedom yet unbowed, alas, poor Millen, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens!
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now, the condition, this King of Naples being an enemy to me inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the dukedom, and confer fair Millen with all the honours on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Millen, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence, me and thy crying self.
Lack for pity. I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings mine eyes to it.
Here a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now is upon's, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore that hour did they not destroy us?
Well demanded, wench. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not. So dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a butt, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively have quit it. There they hoist us to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds, whose pity sighing back again did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a chair you been thou wast, that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine, some food we had, and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan Gonzalo, out of his charity, who being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries which since have steeded much. So, of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my dukedom.
Would I might but ever see that man!
Now, I arise. Sit still and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmaster, made thee more profit than other princess can, who have more time for vainer hours and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for't. And now, sir, I pray you, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm.
No, thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune now, my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come away, spirit. Come. I am ready now. Approach, my aerial, come.
All hail, great master! Grave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to swim, to fly, to dive into the fire, to ride on the cold clouds, to thy strong bidding task, Ariel, and all his quality.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article. I boarded the king's ship. Now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin, I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places. On the topmast, the yards and bowsprit would I flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightning, the precursors or the dreadful thunderclaps, while momentary in sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his bold waves tremble, yea, his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit, who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason.
Not a soul but felt a fever of the mad and played such tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then, all afire with me, the king's son, Ferdinand, with hair up staring, then like reeds, not hair, was the first man who leapt, cried, "Hell is empty, and all the devils are here!"
Why, that's my spirit. But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are the aerials safe?
Not a hair perished, on their sustaining garments not a blemish, but fresher than before. And, as thou badst me, in troops I have dispersed them about the isle. The king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling of the air with sighs, sitting in an odd angle of the aisle, his arms in this sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in harbour is the king's ship. In the deep nook, where once thou call'dst me up at midnight to collect dew from the still-vexed Bermoothes, there she's hid, the mariners all under hatches stowed, who with a charm joined to their suffered labour I have left asleep. As for the rest of the fleet, who have met again, they are upon the Mediterranean float, and are bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked, and his great person perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed. But there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised me, which is not yet performed.
How now, moody? What is't thou canst demand?
My liberty!
Before the time be out, no more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no mistaking, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and think'st it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, sir.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, sir.
Thou hast. Where was she born? Speak. Tell me!
Sir, in Argio.
Oh, was she so? I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgett'st! This damned witch Sycorax for mischiefs manifold and sorcery is terrible to enter human hearing. From Argia thou know'st was banished. For one thing she did, they would not take her life. Is this not true?
Aye, sir.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, was then her servant. And for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain a dozen years, within which space she died and left thee there, where thou didst prevent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the sun that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag born, not honoured with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so, he, that Caliban, whom now I keep in service. Thou best know'st what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl, and penetrate the breasts of ever-angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
Thank thee, master.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, master, I will be correspondent to command. And do my spriting gently.
Do so. And after 2 days, I will discharge thee.
That's my noble master. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go. Make thyself like a nymph of the sea, be subject to no sight but thine, and mine invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, and hither come it. Go. Hence, with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well, awake.
The strangeness of your story hath put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on, we'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, sir, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho! Slave! Caliban, thou earth thou! Speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when? Fine apparition. My quaint Ariel, hark in thine ear.
My lord, it shall be done.
Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth!
As wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both. Southwest blowing ye and blister you all o'er.
For this be sure tonight thou shalt have cramps. Side stitches that shall kill thy breath up. Urchins shall, for that vast of night that they may work, all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
No, Brady. I must eat my dinner. This island's mine! Thy cigarette, my mother, which thou takest from me! For when thou first came, thou strokest me, made much of me, wouldst give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light and how the less that burned by day and night. Oh. And then I loved thee, and showed you all the qualities of the island, the fresh springs, the brine pits, barren place and fertile. Cursed be I that I did so! All the charms of sycorax, toads, beetles, bats light on you! For I am the only subject that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, while you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness. I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Wouldst that been done? Thou didst prevent me. I had people else desire with Calibans.
Abhorrent slave! Which any prince of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill? I pity thee. Took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not. Savage! Know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy viled race, though thou didst learn, had that end which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hast deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language. And my profit on't is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hackseed hence! Fetch us in fuel and be quick. Thou art best to answer other business. Shrugg'st thou malice? If thou neglect'st or dost unwillingly what I command, I'll rack thee with old cramps, fill all thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee! I must obey. His art is of such power that it would control my damned god Setebos and make a vassal of him.
So, slave, hence.
No. Oh.
Come unto these sands and then take hands. Wild waves whist when you've curtsied and kissed. Furted featly here and there, and sweet sprites the burthen bear. Hark, hark, the watchdogs bark, the strains of strutting chanticleer.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more. And sure it waits upon some god of the island, sitting on a bank, weeping again the king my father's wrack. This music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence I have followed it, or it hath drawn me rather. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Full fathom 5 thy father lies. Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs owly ring his knell. Hark, now I hear them. Hark, now I hear them. Ding, dong, bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business. No sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance and say what thou seest yon.
What is the spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, sir, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No wench, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have, such. This gallant which thou seest was in the rack, and but he's something stained with grief. That's beauty's canker. Thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find them.
I might call him a thing divine, for I never saw something so natural be so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder if you be made or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language. Heavens, I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? What wert there if the king of Naples heard thee?
A single thing, as I am now, that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the king, my father, racked.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords, the Duke of Milan and his brave son being twain.
The Duke of Milan and his more braver daughter could control thee if now 'twere fit to do it. At the first sight they have changed eyes. Delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir! I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word!
Why speaks my father so ungently? This is the third man that ere I saw, the first that ere I sighed for pity, moved my father to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin and your affection affection not gone forth, I'll make you the queen of Naples.
Soft, sir, one word more. They are both in either's powers. But this swift business I must uneasy make, least too light winning make the prize light. One word more, I charge thee that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy, to win it from me, the Lord on.
No, as I'm a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirits have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with.
Follow me! Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea-water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots, and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Follow!
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear father, make not too rash a trial, for he's gentle and not fearful.
What I say, my foot, my tutor. Put thy sword up, traitor. Makest a show, but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come, from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick, and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, father!
Hence, hang not on my garments!
Sir, have pity, I'll be his surety.
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor? Hush! Thou thinkst there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban. Foolish wench! To the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections then are most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey! Thy nerves are in their infancy again and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wrack of all my friends, nor this man's threats to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid? All corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
It works. Come on! Thou hast done well, fine Ariel. Follow me. Hark what thou else shalt do me.
Be of comfort. My father's of a better nature, sir, than he appears by speech. This is unwonted, which now came from him.
Thou shalt be as free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow! Speak not for him.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. Of course, as do we all of joy. Our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the master of some merchant, or the merchant has just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge. The visitor will not give him also. Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir,
One. Oh, tell.
when every grief that's entertained is offered, comes to the entertainer.
$1.
Dolour comes to him indeed, sir. You have spoken truer than you purpose.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord,
Fie, what a spendthrift he is of his tongue.
I prithee spare.
well, I have done.
But yet he will be talking.
Which of he or Francisco for a good wager first begins to crow?
The old cock.
The cockerel.
Done. The wager?
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seem to be desert, so your pay. Uninhabitable and almost inaccessible, yet.
He could not miss.
It
must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and a subtle, as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes upon us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Oh, 'twere perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save the means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks. How green.
Ah, the ground indeed is tawny.
With an eye of green in't.
He misses not much.
No, he doth but mistake the truth totally.
But the rarity of it is, and this is indeed almost without credit,
As many vouched rarities are.
that our garments, being as they were drenched in seawater, seem none the less to have kept their gloss and freshness, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If by one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are as fresh as when we wore them first in Africa at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Clarabel to the king of Tunis.
'Twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to their queen.
Not since Widow Dido's time.
Well, widow, a box on that. How came that widow in, widow Dido?
What if he had said widower Aeneas too? Good lord, how you take it?
A widow Dido, said you. You make me study of that. She was of Carthage, not of Tunis.
This Tunis, sir, was Carthage.
Carthage?
I assure you, Carthage.
His word is more than the miraculous harp.
He hath raised the wall and houses too.
What impossible matter will he make easy next?
I think he will carry this island home in his pocket and give it his son for an apple.
In sowing the kernels of it into the sea, bring forth more islands.
Aye.
Why, in good time?
Sir, we were talking that our garments are as fresh as when we were in Tunis at the marriage of your daughter who is now queen.
And the rarest that ever came there.
Bait, I beseech you, widow Dido.
Widow Dido, I. Widow Dido.
Is not my jacket as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean, in a sort.
That sword was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage.
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I had never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost. And in my reign she too, who so far from Italy removed, I'll ne'er again shall see her. Oh, thou, mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish has made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swollen that met him. His bold head 'bove the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss. Thou would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she, at least, is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on't.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business-making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest or the loss.
My lord Sebastian, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
And most courageously.
It is foul weather in us all, dear sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather.
Buck, very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord, and,
I sow it with nettle seed.
Or docks or mallows.
and king on't, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
In the Commonwealth, I would by contraries execute all things. No traffic would I allow, no name of messenger, no letters should be known, riches, poverty, use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, vineyard, tilth, none. No oil, or use of corn or wine. No occupation. All men idle. All. Oh, and women too. But innocent and pure, no sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavour. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine I would not have. But nature should of itself bring forth all foison, all abundance, to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among his subjects.
None man, all idle, whores and knaves.
Oh, I would with such perfection govern, sir, as to excel the golden age.
Save his majesty.
Long live Gonzalo!
Did you mark me, sir?
Prithee no more, thou dost talk nothing to me.
Oh, I do well believe, your highness, and did it administer occasion to these gentlemen, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs, that they always used to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you, so you may continue, and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was they given!
And it had not fallen flat long.
Oh, you are men of brave metal. You would lift the moon from her sphere as you would consider it for 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a bat-fowling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
Oh, no, I warrant you, I would not adventure my discretion so weakly. Oh. Oh, would you laugh me asleep? I'm very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
What, all so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. It seldom visits sorrow, and when it doth, it is a comforter.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous heavy.
What strange drowsiness possesses them?
'Tis the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together, all. Is by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian, oh, what might? No more. Yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks thee. And thy strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do not you hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lest thy fortune sleep, die rather, winkst, whilst thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me, which to do trebles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so, to ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, while thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run, by their own fear or sloth.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of his little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade the king his sons alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as that he that sleeps here swim.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
No hope. What great hope have you? No hope that way is another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond. But doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Clarabelle.
She that is queen of Tunis. She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life. She that from Naples can have no note. Unless the sun were post, the man on the moon's too slow. To newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that from whom will all sea swallowed. Though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act, whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis. So is she heir of Naples. Twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Clarabelle measure us back to Naples, keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake? Say this were death that hath now seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself can make a cough of his deep chat. That you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement! Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother, Prospero.
True, and look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeter than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows, now they are my men.
But for your conscience.
I so realize that. If it were a kibe, it would put me to my slipper. But I feel not as deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Millen, can they be they, and melt he their molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead. Whom I, with his obedient steel, 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever. Whilst you doing thus to the perpetual wink for I, for this ancient morsel, this supprudent, who should not upbraid our cause. All the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou goest to Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo?
Oh, but one word.
Then let us both be sudden.
My master through his art foresees the danger that you, his friend, are in, and sends me forth, or else his project dies, to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy his time doth take. If of life you keep a care, shake of slumber and beware. Awake! Awake!
Oh, good heavens, preserve the king! Why, ho, no, ho! Awake! Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking? What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here, securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing, like bulls, or rather lions. Did not wake you? It struck mine ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, it was a din of fright a monster's ear to make an earthquake. Sure, it was a roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonzalo?
By my honor, sir, I heard a humming, a strange one too, which awaked me. I shaked you, sir, and cried. When I woke, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, and that's verily. Oh, 'tis best we are upon our guard, and that we quit this place. Draw our weapons!
We'll lead off this ground and let's make further search for my poor son.
Oh, heavens, protect him from these beasts, for he is surely the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lord, shall know what I have done. So, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
From bogs, fens, flats, on Prospero and make him by inch meal a disease. The spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. But they'll nor pinch, frightened with urchin shows, pitch me in the fire unless he bid 'em. But for every trifle are they set upon me, sometimes like apes, which mow and chatter at me, and after bite me, huh? Sometimes like hedgehogs, which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall. Sometimes am I all wound with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo. Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly. I'll fall flat. Perchance he will not mind me.
Is neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. And another storm brewing. Oh, I hear it sing in the wind. Yon same cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bumper that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Yon same cloud could not choose but fall by pailfuls. What have we here? A man? Or a fish? Dead? Or alive? Oh, oh, a fish! A very ancient and fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest, poor John. A strange fish. Were I in England now as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday full there, but would give a piece of silver, there would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a Deutsch to relieve a lame beggar, they will lay out 10 to seed a dead Indian. Leg like a man, and his fins like arms. Warm! Oh, my troth, I do now let loose my opinion, hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Oh, alas, the storm has come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. Oh, there is no other shelter hereabout. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here shroud till the dregs of the storm be past.
I shall no more to see. Here shall I die ashore. This this is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort. The master, the swabber, the boatswain, and I, the gunner and his mate, loved Moll, Meg, and Marion, and Marjorie, but none of us cared for Kate. For she had a tongue with a tang, would cry to a sailor, go hang. She loved not the savour of tar nor of pitch, yet a tailor might scratch her where she did itch, then to sea, boys, and let her go hang. This is a scurvy tune, too. But here's my comfort.
Do not torment me,
What's the matter? Have we devils here? Do you put tricks upon with salvages and men of Inde? I have not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your forelegs, for it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on forelegs cannot make him give ground, and it shall be said so again, while Stephano breathes at nostrils.
The spirit torments me,
This is some monster of the isle with 4 legs, who hath got, as I take it, an ague. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief, if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame, and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Do not torment me, prithee, I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now, and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he hath never drunk wine afore, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him, and keep him tame, and get to Naples with him, I shall not take too much for him. He shall pay for him anathema, and that's soundly.
Thou dost me yet a little hurt. Thou wilt anon. I know it by thy trembling. Now Prospero works upon thee.
Come, on your ways, open your mouth. Here's that which will give language to you, Cap. Open your mouth, this will shake you shaking, I can tell you, and that's soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. Open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be. But he is drowned on these are devils. Oh, defend me.
4 legs and 2 voices, a most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and detract. If all the wine in my bottle can recover him, I will help his ague. Come, amen, I'll pour some in thy other mouth.
Stephano!
This thy other mouth for me. Mercy, mercy. This is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stephano! If thou be a Stephano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trunculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend, Trunculo.
If thou beest Trunculo, come forth. I'll pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trunculo's legs, these are they. Thou art very Trunculo indeed. How camest thou to be the siege of this moon calf? Can he vent Trunculos?
It's a storm of blood.
But art thou not drowned, Stephano? I hope thou art not drowned. It's a storm overblown. I hid me under the dead moon calf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stephano? Oh, Stephano! To the Neapolitan scurvy!
Do not turn me about, my stomach is not constant.
These be fine things if I be not sprite. That's a brave god, and there's celestial liquor. I will kneel to him.
Well, how didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle which I made of the bark of a tree with mine own hands since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for that liquor is not earthly.
Swear then now thou escapest.
Swum ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck. Yeah, I'll be sworn.
There, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou'rt made like a goose.
Oh, Stephano! Hast any more of this?
So, Backman, my cellar's in a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid.
And now, Mooncarver, does thine egg you?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man of the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. My mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Swear to that kiss the book, we'll furnish it anon with new contents. Swear!
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I afeard of him, a very weak monster. A most poor, credulous monster. In good sooth.
I'll show you every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god.
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster.
I will kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I shall laugh myself to death at this poppy-headed monster, a most scurvy monster. I could find in my heart to beat him. But that the monster's in drink, an abominable monster.
I'll show you the best springs. I'll fish for thee. I'll pluck thee berries and get thee wood enough. A plague upon that silent tyrant that I serve. I'll bear him no more sticks. But follow thee, thou wondrous man.
A ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
Prithee, let me bring thee to her crab's grove, and I with my long nails will dig thee pig nuts, show you a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get the young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I prithee lead the way without any more talking. Trunculo! The king and all our company, else being drowned, we shall inherit here. Here, bear my bottle, fellow Trunculo, we'll fill him by and by again.
Farewell, master! Farewell, farewell!
Howling monster! A drunken monster!
No more dams I'll make for fish, nor fetching and firing yet requiring, nor scrape trenchering, nor wash dish. Bam, Caliban, as a new master. Get a new man! Freedom, high day! Freedom, high day!
Play, monster, lead the way!
Freedom!
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them set off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This my mean task would be as heavy to me as odious, but the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures. Oh, she is 10 times more gentle than her father's crabbed, and he's composed of harshness. I must remove some thousands of these logs, and pile them up upon a sore injunction. My sweet mistress weeps when she sees me work,
and says such baseness had never like executor. I forget, but these sweet thoughts do even refresh my labors, most busy least when I do it.
Alas, now pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you're enjoying to pile. Pray set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My father is hard at study. Pray rest yourself. He's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
No. Precious creature. I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
Would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it, and yours it is against.
Poor worm, thou art infected. This visitation shows it.
You look wearily.
No, noble mistress. 'Tis fresh morning with me when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my father, I have broken your hat to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so full soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest Gratio'd and put into the foil. But you, oh, you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I do not know one of my sex, no woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. Nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend, and my dear father. How features are abroad I am skilless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you, nor can imagination form a shape beside yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, my father's precepts I therein do forget.
I am in my condition a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would not so, and would no more endure this swadden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you, did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient logman.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven. Oh, earth. Bear witness to this sound and crown what I profess with kind event, if I speak true. If hollowly invert what best is boded me to mischief. I, beyond all limit of what else i' the world, do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Fair encounter of two most rare affections. Heavens rain grace on that which breeds between them.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself, the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow you may deny me, but I will be your servant, whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then.
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom. Here's my hand.
Oh,
1,000. What?
So glad of this is they, I cannot be who are surprised withal. But my rejoicing at nothing can be more. I'll to my book, for yet ere supper time must I perform much business appertaining.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water, not a drop before. Therefore, bear up and bottom, servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster, the folly of this island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the stage taught us.
Drink, servant monster, when I bid thee. Thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Why should they be set else? He were a brave monster indeed if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. For my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam ere I could recover the shore 35 leagues off and on. By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list. He's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
Nor go neither, yet shall lie like dogs, and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncalf, speak once in thy life, if thou be'st a good mooncalf.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He is not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case to justle a constable. Why, thou debauched fish. Thou was ever man a coward that hath drunk so much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monstrous lie, but being half a fish and half a monster?
Lo, how he mocks me, my lord. Wilt thou let him?
Lord, quoth he, that a monster should be such a natural.
Hello again. Bite me to death, I pray.
Trunculo, keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer the next tree, the poor monster is my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
I thank my noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Marry, will I kneel and repeat it? I will stand, so shall Trunculo.
Why, as I told thee, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer, that by his cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest!
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I would, my very lord, would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trunculo, if you trouble him any more and tail by this hand, I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Mum, then, and no more.
I say by sorcery he got this isle. From me he got it. If thy greatness would revenge it on him, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
It's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord. I'll yield him thee asleep, where thou mayest knock a nail into his head.
Thou liest, thou canst not!
With a pine beneath this, thou scurvy patch! My standing is giving blows, and take his bottle from him. That's got left us with brine to drink, for I'll not show him what the quick fishes are.
Trunculo, run into no further danger. Interrupt the monster one word further, and by this hand I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
Why, what did I? I did nothing. I'll go further off.
Did thou not say he lied?
Thou liest!
Do I so? Take thou that! As you like this, give me the lie another time!
I did not give the lie! How to of your wits and hearing too? A pox on your bottle! This can sack and drinking do! A merman, you monster! And the devil take your fingers!
Now, forward with your tail, Prince. Stand farther off. Oh, beat him enough. After little time, I'll beat him too.
Stand farther, come.
Proceed. As I told thee, custom of him in the afternoon to sleep. There, thou mayest brain him, having first possessed his books. It was a law. Batter his skull, or punch him with a stake, or cut his weasel with thy knife. Remember first to possess his books, for without them he's but a sot, as I am, nor hath not one spirit to command. They all do hate him as rootedly as I. Burn but his books. He has brave utensils, for so he calls them, which, when he has a house, he'll deck withal. But that most deeply to consider is the beauty of his daughter. He himself calls her a nonpareil. I never saw a woman but Sycorax, my dam, and she is far surpasseth Sycorax, as greatest as least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Oh, aye, Lord. She will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this man. His daughter and I shall be king and queen, save our graces. And Trunculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trunculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I am sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in your head.
Within the sapphire will he be asleep. Wilt thou destroy him then?
Aye, on mine honor!
This will I tell my master.
Thou makest me merry! I am full of pleasure! Let us be jovial! Will you troll and catch you taught me but while here?
But I request one thing. I will reason. Go on, Trunculo, let us sing. Flout 'em and count 'em and scout 'em and flout 'em. Thought is free.
That's not the tune!
What is this saying?
Oh, this is a tune of our cat, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest a devil, take it as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that does pays all debts. I defy thee! Mercy upon us!
Art thou feared?
No, monster, not I.
Be not afeared. The island is full of noises, sounds, and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments wham about mine ears, and sometimes voices that if I then had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show me riches ready to drop upon me, that when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed!
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and after do a work.
Lead, monster, will follow. I would I could see this taper he lays it on.
Wilt come? I'll follow, Stephano.
By your larkin, I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Oh, here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
Oh, Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest, and even here I will put off my hope, and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, Let him go.
I am right glad he is so out of hope. Do not for one repulse forgo the purpose that you resolve to effect.
The next advantage we will take, truly.
Then let it be tonight. For they are now oppressed with travail. They will not, nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this, my good friend's harp?
Heavenly sweet music!
Give us kind keepers, heavens. What were these?
A living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns. That in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix throne. One phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both. And what does else want credit? Come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers near did lie, though fools at home condemn 'em.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islands, for certes these are people of the islands, who though they be of monstrous shape, yet note their manners are more kind and gentle than on of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest lord, thou hast said well, for some of you there present are worse than devils.
Cannot too much muse, such shape, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise and departing.
They vanished strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind. For we have stomachs. Wilt please you taste of what is here?
Not I. Oh, faith that you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers, dewlapped like bulls, who from their throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh, or that there were such men whose heads stood on their breasts, which now you will find each putter out of 5 for 10 will give you good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last no matter, since I feel the best is past. Brother, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
This lower world and what is in't, the never surfeited sea hath cause to belch up you. And on this isle where man doth not inhabit, you mongst men being most unfit to live, I have made you mad. And even with such valor, men hang and drown their proper selves. You fools. I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds, or with bemocked at stabs kill the still closing waters, as diminish one dow that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strengths, and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero, exposed unto the sea which hath requited him and his innocent child, for which foul deed the powers delaying, not begetting, have incensed all the seas and shores, yea, all creatures against your peace. Thee of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here on this most desolate isle else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart's sorrow, and a clear life ensuing.
the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel, a grace it had devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say. So with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
Oh, in the name of something holy, so what? Why stand you in that strange stare?
Oh, it is monstrous, monstrous. Methought the billows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me, and the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe, pronounced the name of Prospero. It did base my trespass. Therefore my son in the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than air plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time, I'll fight their legions all.
And I'll be thy second!
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits.
I do beseech you, who are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly, and hinder them from whatever this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
If I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Herefore, heaven, I ratify this, my rich gift. Oh, Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her of, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it against an oracle.
Then as my guest and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it, both. Therefore, take heed, as Hymen's lamps shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion our worser genius can, shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration, when I shall think or Phoebus' steeds are foundered, or night kept chained below.
Fairly spoke. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What? Ariel! My industrious spirit, Ariel!
What would my potent master? Here I am.
Thou and thy meaner ministers your last service did worthily perform, and I must use you in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble, o'er whom I give thee power, here to this place. Incite them to quick motion, for I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of mine art. It is my promise, and they expect it from me.
Presently?
Aye, with a twink.
Before you can say mock and mow, and breathe twice and cry so, each one tripping on his toe, will be here with mock and mow. Do you love me, master? No?
Dearly, my delicate Ariel, do not approach till thou dost hear me call.
Well, I conceive.
Look thou, be true, do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw to the fire in the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, sir, the white cold virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
Well.
Now come, my Ariel, bring a corollary rather than water spirit. Appear and pertly.
No tongue, all eyes. Be silent.
Ceres, most bounteous lady, thy rich lees of wheat, barley, fetches,
and peas,
thy turfy mountains, where live nibbling sheep,
and flat meads fetched with stovers,
them to keep,
thy
banks with pionet and twilled brims,
which spongy April at thy hest betrims to make
cold nymphs chase crowns, and thy broom groves, whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves,
being last lord,
thy poor-clipped vineyard, and thy sea marsh, sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost stare, the queen
of
the sky, whose watery arch and messenger am I.
Bids thee lead and with thy sovereign grace,
here on this grass plot,
in this very place,
to come and sport. Here peacocks fly amain. Approach, rich Ceres, her to entertain.
Hail, many-colored messenger that ne'er dost disobey the wife of Jupiter, who with thy saffron wings upon my flowers diffuses honey drops, refreshing showers, and with each end of thy blue bow dost crown my bosky acres and my unshrubbed down. Rich scar, my proud earth, why hath thy queen summoned me hither to the short grass green?
A contract of true love to celebrate, and some donation freely to the state on the blessed lovers.
Tell me, heavenly bow, if Venus or her son,
as thou dost know,
do now attend the queen,
this day did plot the means that dusky dis my daughter got. Her and her blind boy,
scandaled company, I have forsworn.
Of her society,
be not afraid.
I met her deity cutting the clouds towards April, and her son dove-drawn with her.
Here thought they to have done some wanton charm upon this man and maid, whose vows are that no bedright shall be paid till Hymen's torch be lighted. But in vain Mars' hot minion is returned again.
Her waspish-headed son has broke his arrow,
Swears he will shoot no more but play with sparrows,
and be a boy right out.
Highest queen of state,
Great Juno come, I know her by her gait.
how does my bounteous sister go with me to bless this twain, that they may prosperous be and honored in their issue? Riches, marriage, blessing, long continuance and increasing. I rejoice be still upon you. Juno sings her blessings on you. Thus increase, poison plenty, bonds and honors never empty. Vines with clustering bunches growing, plants with goodly burden bowing. Spring come to you at the farthest, in the very end of harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you. Ceres' blessing so is on you.
This is a most majestic vision, and harmonious charmingly. May I be bold to think these spirits?
Spirits, which by mine art I have from their confines called to enact my present fancy.
Let me live here ever. So rare a wondred father and a wise makes this place paradise.
Sweet, now silence. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously. There's something else to do. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred.
You nymphs cold deities of the wintering brook,
With your sedge crowns and ever harmless look,
leave your crisp channel, and on this green land
answer your summons.
Juno, command.
Come, temperate nymphs, and help to celebrate the contract of true love. Be not too late. Sun
risk my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Well done, avoid! No more!
This is strange. Your father's in some vexation that works him strongly.
Never to this day saw I him touched with anger so distempered.
You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir, our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness, my old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell in their repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish you
Peace.
Come with a thought. I thank thee, my Ariel, come.
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. When I presented Ceres, I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again, where didst thou leave these varlets?
I told you, sir, they were red hot with drinking, so full of valor that they smote the air for breathing in their faces, beat the ground for kissing of their feet, yet always bending towards their project. Then I beat my table, at which, like unbacked colts, they pricked up their ears, advanced their eyelids, and lifted up their noses as they smelt music. So I charmed them with my music, that they calf-like my lowing followed through toothed briars and sharp furzes and pricking gosses and thorns which entered their frail shins. At last, I left them in the filthy mantled pool beyond your cell, there dancing up to the chins that the foul lake o'erstunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape, invisible, retain thou still, the trumpery in my house. Go, bring it hither for stale, to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, hang on them this line. Shh, shh. Pray you tread softly, so that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We now are near his cell.
Monster, your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine, you hear, monster. If I should take a displeasure against you, look you.
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient. For the prize I'll bring thee to should hoodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in a pool.
There is not only disgrace and dishonor in that monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wetting. Yet this is your harmless fairy. Monster!
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be all ears for my labor.
Prithee, my king, be quiet!
Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief, which will make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy foot liquor.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
Oh, King Stephano! Oh, Oh, Pio, worthy Stephano! Look what a wardrobe here is for thee!
Leave it alone, thou fool! 'Tis but trash!
Ho, ho, monster! We know it belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stephano!
Pull off that gown, Trunculo, by the saint. I want that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
The dropsy drown this fool! What do you mean to dote us on such luggage? Let's alone do the murder first. If we awake from toe to ground and fill our skins with pinches, make a strange stuff!
Be you quiet, monster! Mistress Line, is not this my jerkin? Now, the jerkin is under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bald jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and it like your grace.
I thank thee for that jest, which shall not go unrewarded while I am king of this country. Here's a garment for it. Steal by line and level is an excellent passive pate. Here's another garment for it.
Monster! Come put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I have none on't! We shall lose our time, and I'll be turned to barnacles, or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers and help to bear this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to carry this.
And this.
I am this.
Hey, mountain, hey!
Silver, there she goes,
Sorry,
Silver!
there! Don't charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions, shorten up their sinews with aged cramps, and more pinch-spotted make them than pard or cat or mountain.
Hardly wrong!
Let them be hunted soundly. At this hour lies at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little, follow and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lord, you said our work would cease.
I did say so when first I raised the Tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together, in the same fashion as you gave in charge, sir, just as you left them, all prisoners, in the lime grove which weather fens your cell. They cannot budge till your release. The king, his brother, and yours remain all three distracted, with the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay. But chiefly, him that you termed, sir, the good old Lord Gonzalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from eaves of reeds. Your charms so strongly worksome, that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, sir, were I human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their affliction, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Yea, though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason, 'gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They, being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose doth extend, not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, sir.
meadows and hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets, that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the yew not bites. And you, whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms, that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault, set roaring war! To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let 'em forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure. And when I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses, that this airy charm is for, I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. A solemn air and the best comforter to an unsettled fancy cure thy brains, now useless boil within thy skull. There stand, for you are spell stopped. Oh, holy Gonzalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine, fall fellowly drops. The charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. O good Gonzalo, my true preserver, and a loyal sir to him thou followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sebastian. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertain ambition, expelled remorse and nature, whom with Sebastian, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Your understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lie foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me, or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me, and myself present as I was sometime, Millen. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt alone be free.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. On a cowslip's bell I lie. There I couch when owls do cry. On the bat's bat I do fly. After summer merrily. Merrily, merrily shall I live now. Under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee, but yet thou shalt have freedom. So. To the king's ship, invisible as thou art, There shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place, and presently, I prithee!
I drink the air before me and return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
Oh, trouble, torment, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Oh, some heavenly power, guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duke of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living prince does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou beest he or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, I don't know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear a madness held me. This must crave, and if this be at all, a most strange story. Thy dukedom I resign and do entreat, thou pardon me my wrongs, but how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Oh, well, whether this be or not be, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the ire that will nor let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends all. But you, my brace of lords, were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness' frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time, I will tell no tale.
The devil speaks in him.
No. For you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation. How thou hast met us here, whom 3 hours since were racked upon this shore, where I have lost how sharp the point of this remembrance is. My dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss. Patient says it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You, the like loss?
As great to me as late and supportable to make the dear loss, have I means much weaker than you may call to comfort you. For I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh, heavens, that they were living both in Naples, a king and queen there, that they were. I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. When did you lose your daughter?
In this last Tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath. But howsoe'er you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very duke that was thrust forth of Milan, who most strangely upon this shore where you were racked, was landed to be the lord on't. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This sells my court. Here have I few attendants and subjects, none abroad. Pray you, look in. My dukedom, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, at least bring forth a wonder, to content ye as much as me, my dukedom.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest there.
Oh, wonder! How many goodly creatures are there here? How beauteous mankind
you to thee.
What is this maid whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. Is she the goddess that had severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for his advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life, and second, father, this lady makes him to me.
I am hers. But oh, how oddly will it sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burden our remembrances with a heaviness that's gone.
Oh, I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Oh, look down, ye gods, and on this couple drop a royal crown, for it is you who chalked forth the path which brought us hither.
I say amen, Gonzalo.
Oh, was Milan thrust from Milan that his issue should become kings of Naples? Rejoice now with uncommon joy and set it down in gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Clarabel a husband find in Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife when he himself was lost. Prosper his dukedom on a poor isle, and all us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart, that doth not wish you joy.
So be it. Amen. Look, sir! Look, sir, here's more of us! Oh, I prophesied if gallows were on land, this man could not drown. Now, blasphemy, who swearest grace or board, not an oath on shore, hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our king and company.
The next our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tightened here.
And bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
Sir, all this have I done since I left.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you.
We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches.
Well, but even now we're strange in several noises.
Of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, and more diversity of sounds. Oh, horrible!
We were awake.
Straight away at liberty were we in all our trim, freshly beheld a royal good and gallant ship. A master capering to eye her.
On a trice, so please you, even in a dream were we divided from them and were brought moping hither.
Was't well done?
Bravely, my diligence, thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod, and there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At picked leisure, which shall be shortly single, I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable of every these happened accidents. Till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. Affairs, my gracious sir. There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads whom you remember not.
And let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Corazio! Bully monster! Corazio!
If these be true spice which I wear in my head, oh, here's a goodly sight.
Oh, I said it, boss! These be brave spirits indeed! I'll find my master is. I'm afraid he will chastise me.
When things are these, my lord Antonio, will money buy him?
Very like, what is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these lords, my lords. Then say, if they be true, this misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These three have robbed me, and this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. Two of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness, I acknowledge mine.
I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stephano, my drunken butler?
He's drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trunculo is reeling right. Now where should they find this grand liquor that hath gilded them? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last. I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Well, now, Stephano.
Oh, touch me not. I am not Stephano, but a crab.
You'd be king of the Isles, sirrah.
I should have been a sore one then.
This is as strange a thing as e'er I looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions, as you look to have my pardon. Trim it handsomely.
Aye, that I will, and I'll seek for grace, and be wise hereafter. Oh! What a thrice double ass was I to take this drunkard for a god and worship this dull fool.
Go to, away.
Hence, and bestow your luggage where you found it.
Or stole it, rather.
Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as I not doubt will make it go quick away, the story of my life, and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn, I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnized, and thence retire me to my Milan, where every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ear strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well. Please, you, draw near. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.